Hey, what's going on, guys? Food Lust is back, and today we're making blintzes. They're stuffed little crepes, and we're gonna make a bunch of them. We're gonna make them sweet and savory. I'm gonna make a couple different compotes. They're gonna be cheesy, they're gonna be fruity. Stick around, I'll show you how. All right, let's make some blintzes. Now, I'm no expert, but these are basically stuffed crepes. We're gonna do a bunch of different flavors. I'm gonna make a filling with mascarpone, ricotta, and cream cheese. I'm gonna make a couple compotes with some berries. Here I have some blueberries and blackberries. I'm also gonna do a strawberry compote. And we're also gonna do one Food Lust style. I'm gonna make a savory blintz stuffed with sausage, cheddar cheese, and onions. We're gonna make a crepe batter. Let's get started. All right, we're gonna start with our crepe batter, and here's our ingredients. 2 cups of all-purpose flour sifted, 2.5 cups of whole milk, 4 tablespoons of room temperature butter, 1 teaspoon of salt, and I have 4 whole farm fresh eggs at room temperature. I'm going to lightly whisk my eggs, being careful not to overbeat them. We'll add our milk. Now, this recipe should make a couple dozen crepes. If you don't need to make that many, just cut it in half if you only need to make a dozen or so. It also really depends on the size of the pan you use and the size of the crepe you want. I'm going to slowly add my wet mixture to the flour, about a quarter at a time. And I'm just going to work this batter lightly to get all the lumps out. Now I'll add the salt. Now the melted butter. And there we are. Pretty smooth. It's lump free. I'm going to cover this and refrigerate it, preferably overnight. If you don't have that kind of time, put it in the refrigerator for at least a couple, 2-3 hours. Now we're going to start on our berry compotes. I have about 2 cups each of blackberries and blueberries here. This is probably more than I need. I might just make waffles in the morning. And if you'd like to see my waffle recipe, I'll put a link to that up above right now. I'm going to start to cook these over medium heat. I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. And I'll squeeze some fresh orange in here. And I'll add a 1/2 cup of water, and we'll bring that to a boil. Now this is starting to come to a boil. I'm going to remove about a 1/4 cup of this liquid, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with it shortly. I'm going to reduce the heat to low and let that simmer for about 15 minutes. This is about a tablespoon of cornstarch with a little water that I'm going to use to thicken this. We have this nice thick berry compote. I'm going to remove this from the heat and let it cool. This is a strawberry compote that I made yesterday using the exact same process. We're going to make our cheese filling. This is 1/2 stick of cream cheese, some fresh ricotta, about 1.5 cups, 8 ounces of mascarpone. I'm going to switch over to a whisk because that cream cheese is soft, but it's still a little lumpy. I've taken the cheese and divided it into two separate bowls so I can make two separate fillings. This is the zest from the orange from earlier. 1 tablespoon of sugar. This is the liquid that I took from the berries. We have two different fillings. We have a berry and cheese and a sweet orange zest. All right, now we're going to make crepes. I have my work surface over here to the right. This is a 10-inch non-stick skillet. I'm going to brush just a little melted butter. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of the crepe batter. This only needs to go for about 30 seconds to a minute. You just want to get a little bit of a brown on one side and then you'll give it a flip. As soon as I can see these bubbles start to pop up, it's ready to flip. I'm just going to take a regular small little spatula, flip her over. Now just make a whole bunch of these and put them in a stack. Okay, so I've knocked out about 2 dozen of these and I don't know what I'm going to do with them all, but I will say this, you're all invited over for brunch. And here's one thing I've always noticed about making crepes. You always get this beautiful golden brown on one side, and when you flip it on the bottom, you get this kind of inconsistency. It's for a couple reasons actually. When you put the butter down, you get that nice even layer and bubbles start to form, and then when you flip it, the bubbles create this little browning on the other side. And that's no big deal, but for presentation purposes, we'll use this side to put our filling. When we fold them, we'll have this beautiful side on the top. Now we're going to get these filled and folded. I'm going to start with the sweet orange zest cheese. Put a heaping tablespoon in there, about 1/3 of the way from the bottom. I'm going to fold and then fold. Bring these corners over. And fold. The trick is to make sure that this seam or the bottom piece is directly under the blintz. Now we've got this perfect little cheese package rolled up into a crepe. I'm gonna make a ton of these. We're gonna put them in the oven at about 300 just to finish them off, get that cheese nice and melted, and we'll get these on a plate. And there it is, sweet and savory blintzes. Man, this was so much fun, and I'd love to have you all over for brunch. So we have 3 different varieties. We have the berry and cheese with the berry compote. We have the sweet orange zest with the strawberry compote. And we have the savory style with the sausage, onions, and cheese. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you part of the family. We'll put out a video a week. You get to watch for free. What have you got to lose? Cheers! Wow, that cheese is so light and fluffy and airy with that ricotta. And that crepe is cooked perfectly. The berries are nice and sweet. And I've got a ton of these to go around. This is the savory crepe with the sausage, onions, and cheese. Cheers! Wow, I gotta tell you, I love the sweet crepes, but I love the savory crepes. That sausage and cheese is just absolutely amazing. And that's how that one goes.